podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
Hi, this is DM Glen. I'd stay tuned to this show because at the end we are going to announce the winners of the DM Tale of Woe contest for THACO's Hammer here. And so stick around. You may hear something.
Original.
Yoinks! And away!
Basic.
Yoinks! And away!
First edition.
Yoinks! And away!
And then...
I says, Pigpen, this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put the hammer down.
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever. We're back, folks. It's THACO's Hammer with Splatbook number 33. I am DM Glenn, and with me is DM Brian.
Good evening, everyone.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. I'm trying to be subdued.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. And
Sorry.
he can only be subdued. But
Sometimes I have to be subdued, but that's neither here nor there.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's not.
Well, let's say that we have DM Full On Gamer.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. Full On Gamer here on episode 33, representing the next third. So we are 33 and a third. Your recording speed. Next.
Yeah, better that than 78.
A man who is never subdued. Anyway, it's me again, and we're going to go into hits and crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque Louie's Paradise. Miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits. We're back on Hits and Crits. And what have you guys been doing this weekend? Full on. Or this last week, rather.
Oh, lots of Army stuff, very little gaming stuff other than, yes, as of the recording of this, we have had one episode of live play THACO's Hammer under our belts, and it's very wonderful.
And we may even get you to let you hear it one of these days.
One day soon, if we're lucky. Yes.
Yes. What? No,
that and turning wrenches, doing motorcycle stuff, replacing an ignition in a motorcycle.
No time for Old Republic, huh?
Little bit of time. Got 10 levels of advancement on one of my 6 characters done.
Oh, okay. How about you, Brian? What's up?
Oh, let's see. Planning the next session number 2 for our Skype game.
Which will be heavily edited by me.
Yeah, it will be. It has to be. Even though we kind of have to, let's not edit it too much because then it'll sound really weird.
I'm still looking for a real bitchin' theme music for the beginning. So
I can work on that. I can certainly work on that.
I was thinking of going with Weird Al.
No.
I've been working in a coal mine, going down, working in a coal mine. Ooh, about to slip down.
Wow.
Almost. I was going to use Dare to Be Stupid.
There's a thinly veiled reference.
Okay. You see me now, the veteran of 1,000 psychic wars.
Oh yeah. Blue Oyster Cult. We can go with that.
So, what else?
Oh, let's see. Trying to get through a work week where, we had our first major snowstorm of the year, and of course they sent us out in it, and, I almost wrecked the car I was driving, but aside from that, basically the game, where it's going to go is pretty much set, or at least where I think it's going to go, knowing we've got the master of improvisation over here. Or should I say masters, plural?
I thank you.
Mm-hmm.
On Saber Dial yesterday, I found out Crispy was playing in Horror on the Hill. I said, Crispy, you'll never guess what we're playing for second edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. that was
Mine's
fun.
more interesting, though.
I'm sure it will be.
Mm,
We have
oh.
Sturgis!
Yeah, that was your first fight. Handled it more or less pretty well. More or less.
Yeah,
Well,
more or
dead.
less.
Handled it well.
Sturgis are dead. I chopped most of them up. Fallon was having a bit too much fun firing into melee, but we got it done.
Yeah. I should have put that in my house rules, shouldn't I? Well,
No firing into melee.
well, no, you can do it. It's just, be prepared.
How do you handle it? Yes. Anyway.
Yeah, how I handle it, yes. But, that's straight out of, I think, Combat and Tactics, how I handle it. But
No, it's straight out of the player's handbook in the combat section.
that's right.
Current raw is what you were using. I understand. It's
Okay.
the 2E raw.
Mm.
I just think 1E and 2E raw got it wrong. 3E got it right.
Okay. Well, I have to look at the 3E rules, and if it makes more sense to me, I'll adopt it. How's that?
Well, I'm glad Chris.
Well, it only adds one different thing.
What's that?
You can choose to take a -4 penalty to fire into melee and have no chance of hitting friends other than if you're using fumble rules.
Mhm.
Or you can forego the -4 penalty and use the 2E rule raw as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Chances to hit everyone based on the size of the combatant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'll think about it. How about that? I'll consider it.
Okay.
Never let it be said that I'm not a fair DM. Never let it be said.
It's out there. It's all right.
Okay.
We can't because we're bound and gagged. Anyway, what have
Moving
I
right
been
along.
doing? Moving right along. Still no gaming. I finished my Gazetteer 1, Grand Duchy of Karamekios. I am hungry for more.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to negotiate with both Mike Stewart and Ancient Gamer to see if I can get some more of these wonderful Gazetteers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how I'm going to use them, but it's given me a whole lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Been skimming the boards. There's a real interesting, I think it's on Dragon's Foot,
Mm-hmm.
about negative armor class. They were
Oh,
specifically talking about the Tarrasque.
Mm-hmm.
They've come to the conclusion to hit a Tarrasque which has -5 THACO,
Mm-hmm.
you have to roll, you have to fumble. You have to roll a 1.
I know what that's about. Basically, they're talking.
I thought it was hilarious, actually.
It is. I mean, and a lot of them are kind of getting it wrong because a monster with a -5 THACO, it'll hit almost everything, but the rule of 1 in 20 still applies. A 1 always misses, a 20 always hits, and I don't care how low your THACO could be. Your THACO could be -1,000. I don't care.
You're saying there is no way to hit this thing?
No, that's not. It's THACO is what it uses to hit you. So unless you're running around with a -5 or better armor class,
Mm-hmm.
more like a -8 or a -10, which you really should be having if you're going to intentionally go mess with Tarrasques in the first place, you probably can expect to get hit if it wants to hit you.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's why you go with a large population. No, hitting it is something else entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're talking about.
No, they're talking about it hitting you.
Oh, okay. I was getting it wrong. Okay, I was reading that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Well, how they were phrasing things made it easy to misunderstand. It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I thought that was funny. He says, I have to roll a 1 to hit this thing?
No. Only if your THACO's like -6 or -4, I should say.
Okay.
But yeah, it's more like them hitting you. Basically, like everyone's debated about the Tarrasque, that thing was made to kill PCs. With the ridiculous regeneration rate and the massive amount of hit points and the ungodly amount of damage it does.
Just to
That's
be
why there's
clear,
only one of
the
them.
3 times that I have encountered Tarrasques in gameplay,
3 times?
3 times in different characters over the course of my gaming career, 0 have resulted in party member deaths.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I can say that about the one time that I encountered a Tarrasque.
Of course, we also choose not to stand up and fight them.
Mm-hmm.
We choose to get rid of them. It has a touch AC of 10, and I can teleport. I can our chosen choice for that was to have somebody sneak up on it with improved invisibility and utilizing a touch attack, grab a hold of it, and then use teleport without error to dump it in the lowest plane of hell and leave it there.
Yeah, wow. Where it will rage for all eternity.
No, eat its way out.
like when you're in a room full of Jello. Yeah. Okay.
I keep thinking of the rock monster.
Technically,
from
one of those encounters was the same encounter twice. Was the same Tarrasque twice.
Wow.
We were there.
Remember you guys.
Yep. We had to use a wish. One of our players had a luck blade, and what we ended up doing is sending it to Athos of all places.
Good place for it.
Oh yeah. 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 Let it be the Dragon King's problem for a while, sure.
Yeah. Me, I would send it into the sun, but that's something altogether different. I had one Tarrasque in a game I actually put in there. That was at the bottom of the Glory Hole Dwarven Mine from Judges Guild.
Really?
But yeah, and there was a Tarrasque down there, but nothing happened because he was asleep, and nobody wanted to wake him up.
Wise
so
move.
They just left him.
Yep.
You find Godzilla in a cave, snoring mightily. What do? Sneak the hell away.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's going to want to take on a gargantua lizard? Hell.
Not I.
No, not me. Not unless I've got a 20th level character and I've got plenty of magic items to mess with that thing. No.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what kind of emails we got, Brian?
Okay, to begin with, we have a voicemail from our friend DM Kojo. So,
why don't you line that one up and play it?
Yes, I will. Give me one moment.
Hello, gentlemen. This is DM Kojo. Hey, I'm just calling to ask your opinion on something about starting up a campaign, 2E, but most of my players are previous 3.5 players. I've never played 3.5. I don't know much about 3.5. And I'm just wondering what kind of things I should expect as far as getting them used to 2E. What should I have to explain to them? What's different? What things might they be confused about? So any tips you might have about that, that would be wonderful to hear. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kojo.
Excellent.
Thank you, Kojo. And, okay, my tip would be, first of all, before you start any kind of campaign, go out and get yourself a riding crop. Whenever they say, my armor, I want to hit an armor class, or I have an armor class of 10, whack them on the knuckles.
Unless they have an armor class of 10. Say, how, like have
armor
an armor class
of,
of like 17, 18. Yeah.
They say 17, 18, whack them on the knuckles. No, it goes down.
Yeah. Yeah, the numbers go down, yes.
Yes. Like the way God intended.
In all seriousness, the biggest thing you're going to have to explain to them is, depending on what type of 2E game you're playing, if you're playing a player's option 2E game, you really don't have that much of a problem. Because you could build their characters to suit, which is what you're used to doing in 3E.
Yep. But in a world.
In the 2E world, stock, without players' options, they're just going to have to get used to the notion of the class builds are the class builds, and the twain shall not meet unless you're kidding them. So it isn't a build as you go, it's a take the kit or take the class and run with it.
Yep.
That's the biggest hurdle you're going to have with them. Aside from, as I mentioned earlier in the show, what they're going to want to do when it comes to firing into melee and what you're going to want to do when it comes to firing into melee. Again, that depends on your choice of raw or house rules.
Oh, but we're not bitter or anything. But
no, I'm just saying it's clear. I'm just giving them – they're going to try it because it's what you can do in 3E by raw.
Right, and that's what they're used to. And you have to tell them, no, it doesn't work like that. It works like this.
Unless it works like that.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you make it work like that. My whole thing is that they're going to have to learn that they are not going to be able to rely upon skill rolls to take the place of good role playing. NWPs supplement good role playing when it comes to things like trying to fast talk somebody or trying to seduce somebody or, more of the charisma-based NWPs. Not everything gets resolved with a skill roll. More often, I would say with 3 and 3.5, I'd say probably about 95% of things get resolved that way. With second edition, it's like maybe 60 to 70%. The rest is like, how well you role play your character in the situation you're using stuff. But aside from that, the ascending armor class, let's put it this way. I've been saying this ever since I got put on THACO's Hammer and we talk about it. It's basic freaking math, people. Seriously. Get over it. It's no problem. It's not something for you to say, oh, look how quaint, descending armor class. Oh, how nice that is. Ugh. But yeah, to put your snobbiness away and, have some fun playing.
And Brian is not bitter.
No, just angry.
My serious advice would be, as far as players' option, I'm not going to say don't use them, but I'm going to say don't use them right away.
Mm-hmm.
Go on with the campaign for a while, and later on, if you decide to use them, you think they're worthwhile, go ahead and start introducing them to you. But right at the very beginning, start with the class builds and a bunch of splat books.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, kits are good enough, really. You can do a whole lot with the game core as it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a whole lot more with the game core plus your choice of splat books for kits. And again, remember that it's not a case of, I have to use all of this. Pick the parts that you want to use. Stick to your guns and use those. Add more as it becomes necessary to expand your campaign.
Yeah, work them in. Yeah.
Because when it comes to the bottom line is the splat books aren't even necessary either.
No, they're not.
Unless the players are like begging you and threatening you and begging you, and I'm sure you're going to come out with some like, well, if you want this, I need like Cheetos or something like that.
Yes.
Or chocolate or something like that. Bribe me. That's a good technique. Bribe me, guys.
Yes. DM bribery almost always works.
The splat book can have a strong effect on the weak mind.
Nice.
These are not the classes you are looking for.
And we're talking about psionics on this show, on this episode.
Yep.
And as far as psionics go in second edition, no comment. So.
Oh, you've made plenty of comments to me in private conversations, yes.
We'll make you comment in about half an hour when we get to that meat of the show.
I don't have to tell you that, Brian.
Glenn, come on now. It's been tangentially discussed in previous episodes.
Oh yeah.
And you've made your feelings known. It's okay. Really, it's okay. I may not agree with everything you say about it, but you can have your flavor of D&D, I can have mine, Falon can have his, and it's all good. No worries. No worries.
No, keep going. Soap my robe some more. Go on.
No, I'm just soothing the savage beast. It's okay. Calm down. It's fine.
I try to get out of this in an elegant way, and all of a sudden, you have to calm me down. All I'm saying is, no comment. Do what you want.
And again, to the meat of your question, the basic concepts are still the same. It's D&D. It's D&D. It's D&D. You're trying to hit things. They're trying to hit you. You're taking damage. You're giving damage. It's still a hit point system. It's still got some proficiencies if you want to have proficiencies, so you can answer their questions that way. You can still try things untrained. There's just a whole lot more that's going to be on that untrained list than what they're used to. Mm-hmm. And get out there and have them try it. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, it's going to be going from a class or skill-based system back to a class-based system. That's the major adjustment.
That's right. To paraphrase Billy Joel, it's still D&D to me.
Very well done, sir.
So, what else we got for? By the way, thank you, Kojo.
Yep. Keep those email coming. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the number? Throw the number up there.
That is 405-806-0555.
And someday you may hear your voice on THACO's head.
If you leave us a voicemail, absolutely.
Yes. What do we got for regular emails?
Okay, we have an email from Kevin Clift, and he says,
Hi, Kev.
Yeah, hello, Kevin. He says, avid fan of the show, though I don't see how you're starting to run out of things for second edition AD&D to talk about. Oh, trust me, Kevin.
Never.
No,
Never.
It's just we don't have them written, put down on our show notes or show ideas page. But yeah, we have plenty to talk about.
We've got what we got, like 10 the next 10 shows mapped out or something like that?
More or less.
Billions and billions.
Thank you, Carl Sagan.
That's my favorite man. Anyway, Carl Sagan. I watch Cosmos like you wouldn't believe. I love just listening to him talk about stuff.
It's like me and James Burke. So
exactly. He says the adventure modules have hardly been touched. One thing. I know we were going to do mostly dungeon adventures, and we sprinkle in printed TSR adventures in with it. That's the plan, right?
Right.
Okay. That's all. I just needed confirmation.
I'm going to keep suggesting printed modules and box sets and all kinds of stuff.
And
look on the show notes for the next 10 episodes. You'll see some of your stuff up there.
Yeah,
I know.
Yep. Episode 34 is your baby, full on. the episode 34 is all you. Okay. So he says, I recently rejoined the OSR and I'm looking into RPGing over the net, over Skype or a combo of Skype and map tools. Can't say I like the dice roller in the program though. The virtual table that Wizards/Hasbro was working on was nice. There are a few videos of that on the net, but with the announcement of 5th edition, I'm prone to think that that's on hold for even longer, if not totally dropped like the first dungeon virtual table was in 3D. I've signed on for the playtesting. Let's just hope that for the natural 20 to be rolled and get AD&D, not another attempt at the MMO the paper edition. And he has a suggestion. He suggests I would like you to add a new segment to the show called Players First D&D Experience. Would love to donate my story to the show. Kick around the thought for a bit and let me know. Sincerely, Russ the Fighter.
Thank you, Russ. I think I will kick that idea around. It sounds pretty interesting, although I'm probably going to pervert the title some way, which I'm wont to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wouldn't be you if you didn't pervert it slightly.
Yes.
Listener-donated bits are the hallmark of a successful podcast. Mm-hmm. It's what they're using in the Holocron and Order 66. Everybody loves to hear from the listeners. So if you've got something, record it. Put it in a voicemail, send it in. Record it with Audacity. Send it as an attachment to the email address. We'll take what you got. We'll do something with it, and we'll see where it goes.
Yep.
Did you clear this with me?
Oh. I think you cleared it.
Never mind.
I think you plowed the road and full on drove on at about 70 miles an hour. Yeah. I think that's what happened.
I was thinking more like sending them in on emails, but we got a contest to take care of for that. And I also want to say, you don't like the dice roller on there? You think that one's bad? Try the one on Skype. God.
Stop. I told you that was my fault.
I had to 5 minutes later, I get the result?
No. The reason you want to know why that is? I figured it out. Because I have to have the Skype chat window in front of all the other windows I had open in order for it to work immediately. That's what happened. That was my fault. That was on me.
Or we each have to put it installed into our own local machines.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, we can try that, or at least just to see if it makes a difference. If not, we'll just go with the honor system, and I'll just roll my stuff, the way I have been. Excuse me.
Yeah, the honor system. Okay, Glenn, roll to hit. What are you doing? Rolling a D20?
Yeah, times 30.
Yeah.
I rolled 7 natural 20s. Does that count? Anyway. His name's Kevin Clift. He calls himself Rust the Fighter.
I know. What was his question again?
Oh, basically he was asking, what we were talking about anyway. He was just trying to figure out, how to do, how to play D&D over the net with Skype or Skype in map tools and stuff like that.
Well, I would recommend Skype. Some people have had good luck with Google Plus Hangout. We have not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for Google Plus, you just need a fairly recent machine in order to run it without blowing everythve else up.
You gotta have more than 1 gig of RAM. Let me put it that way.
Yep. Like I've said for episode after episode, I was messing around with map tools. The learning curve is way too steep. Really? I just want a grid to where I can put tokens on it to represent players so that the players can look at it, see what's going on, and then they can think tactically from there. Although I'm finding out that one of our players thinks tactically all the time.
Yes.
I'm just glad
I have to. I'm a swashbuckler. I'm a trouble magnet. I have to be spatially, tactically, and sensorily aware.
I say nothing.
And know that the suave can be best.
I know I'm saying nothing.
All I'm saying is I'm glad you didn't pick an archer full on, because I'd be all kinds of verklempt.
Look, he's already firing into melee. What does he need an archer for?
Well, he'd have a better chance of pulling it off. That's for damn sure.
That's true. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And me, Mr. Myrmidon up there. Anyway, thank you, Rust, for that email. What else we got?
Okay, moving right along. Oh, let's see. Oh, our friend Harmbringer is back. Okay, he says, hello all. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, hello, Harmbringer.
Well, he sends in good emails. We're easy. That makes a good friend in our view.
Yeah, but we ain't cheap.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah, we may be easy, but we're not cheap. We're just inexpensive. Anyway, hello all. Loving the podcast. Started listening to you all, then moved on to Sod and RFI. He's asking, I think he's asking Wild Games as a whole when he asks this question. Oh, never mind. I just misread that. He's making a statement. He's saying, what you are all doing for old school gaming is amazing. Now on to my question. Can you have too many books?
No.
Sorry.
Can you have too many dice?
No.
No? That goes for books too.
Oh my God! Yeah, I couldn't get through that question without snickering.
You know what happens with books? Here's what happens with books. I get too many books, or I think I have too many books. I go sell them for half price. Not 6 months go by, I'm buying the books again.
Yeah.
It's like a wave in the ocean.
And in a strange way, sometimes books reproduce.
Yes.
They spawn on the shelf. And
when you're not looking,
the handbook turns into 3.
It's true.
Like
players' handbooks, extra players' handbooks are always good to have around.
Yep.
When gamers fade and go away, if they ever decided to leave books over at your house and never came back to get them,
I have a few because of
and burned all your advances to bring them back their books, you get extra books out of the deal.
Yep. I encourage you to go to osrgaming.org and look at the thread books at Ancient Gamers pictures of his.
Oh my God!
You will die.
He has an out. He's a game store owner guy. He has an excuse.
Sort of.
Sort of excuse.
He has a justification. That's what he has. But yeah,
Still.
I've seen those pictures and it's borderline obscene. The only set of pictures that I've seen that's worse was, you remember that, it's like a old thread on, Dragon's Foot and probably made the rounds in other places. Have you seen this one where it was like a full-blown gaming room, like it was made out like a dungeon room?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a custom table, all kinds of accoutrements, at least seven or 8 bookshelves that are full of multiple copies of almost everything TSR put out and other stuff too. I mean, I was looking, the guy had I want to say at least 8 copies of the first edition Player's Handbook, at least that many, and every other rule book aside from that. I'm looking at my bookshelf right now. Now my bookshelf is about 6'2", and it is full from top to bottom, or at least the first 4 shelves is all D&D stuff. I've been collecting since 1982, and I've put it kind of on a hold because I was able to find and purchase PDFs, and having PDFs helps. That saves this one bookcase from becoming 3 bookcases.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. This doesn't even rival my DVD collection, okay? Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at my bookcase. I see my art books, but right next to it is my huge stack of Judges Guild, my D&D stuff, all, basic, advanced, first, second edition. Mm-hmm. The supplements there, my Encyclopedia of Magic on the 3rd shelf, GURPS, Gangbusters, Primal Order. I see a couple of Hackmaster things in there, Marvel Superheroes. Mm-hmm. Up here I've got Champions. I don't have any duplicates, but that's another reason why I was looking for a group to play face-to-face.
Right.
If my wife looks at this, and I have nobody to play with, I'm obsessive.
Nah, you're not that bad. I've seen worse. Married with kids. Yeah,
I'm waiting for her to pop the question, which is,
will you divorce me? Sorry.
That's the other question.
Because I might need them. That's why you have all those books. And they can always be used across. And don't tie yourself to one edition's books. There are things in the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide as a second edition DM you should have. Get it.
Actually, I'm thinking about it. I have a very good excuse for having that many books. Mm-hmm. Reference for THACO's Hammer and Sod.
Yep. So you got your justification right there.
That's why I started buying all the used books. It's like I gotta look this, and I'm not they're saying, well, you get PDFs. I've got tons of PDFs on here of all these books, but I cannot sit here and stare at a screen.
Yeah.
And read something.
Well,
if you tried to podcast while you're staring at a screen, you'd blow your computer up. We know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
No, I mean my neck starts to hurt, my back starts to hurt, all this kind of crap. It's like I guess I'm old fashioned. I need a book in my hand.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Becky can have her Kindle. I need a book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you like technology, you're just not, technology obsessed, let's say.
I'm 54 frickin' years old. That's the problem with the reading glasses. That's the problem right there.
Okay, fair enough.
And there was a question before this rant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, are there too many? Is there such a thing as too many books? In what context?
Well, Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at just my D&D shelf. Well, actually, I have 2. I have one for rule books.
No, the questioner's question. The questioner's question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, specifically. As long as you have one of everything, good.
Yeah.
And perhaps 1 or 2 extra of some very useful things, like extra players' handbooks are always good to have for other players. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there's no such thing as too many books. Now, there are campaigns where it has been determined that there are such things as using too many books.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another
You
story.
need to know what you're doing and know what you're getting yourself into if you're going to try to use everything. I played and run in games that used everything.
Yeah,
I
it's
cringe.
doable and it's enjoyable, but you have to have my mindset to do that.
You bid and get. I'll bet it wasn't enjoyable for the DM.
I've tried to do that where I've used everything. Yeah, my brain is like a very very wet sponge at the end. Okay, he has a second question, and this one's actually a little better. He says, how many books should a newbie start with? I think the Player's Handbook, DMG, Monster Manual, and the complete race splat books. Other than that, beside the oddball collectors like us, that should be it. What are your thoughts?
Well, if we were on SOD, I'd say Rule Cyclopedia, that's it. But we're second edition, so you're absolutely right.
Yep.
Player's Handbook, DMG, Monstrous Manual. Vote, go.
If you're
add splat books as needed.
Add splat books to taste. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more than that's kind of how I started when I first started playing second edition. And then, once, I hate to put it like this because it sounds like I'm bashing 1E and I'm not, but I felt liberated. I felt free. I felt like, okay, I have room to maneuver. There's not, all this hemming me in and, it's just too much for me to remember, and then I started just buying. I bought the DMG. They didn't have the Monstrous Manual then because we're talking like late 80s, early 90s. But I bought the Monstrous Compendiums. Then I started going.
Boy, that was a mistake.
No, it wasn't. I still have
them. Your end. I don't mean your end.
Oh, you mean the
on DSR's end.
Oh, you mean, the loose leaf format, you mean?
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
It doesn't travel well in backpacks.
No, not at all.
Let me rephrase that. That was a great idea, poorly executed.
Yeah, good idea, bad execution. I agree, 100%. I mean, I hardly ever pull out my Monstrous Compendiums because they are so beat up. That's the other reason why I like PDFs. I have all that on my computer. I can look at it as a straight reference when the monster manual fails, because the monster manual will fail you at some point because some of the monsters in there are very short on pertinent information. You should have that kind of stuff, the compendiums, as a backup.
Let me rephrase what I said earlier and elaborate on it.
Okay.
Here's the ideal situation, assuming you have a computer to work with too.
Mm-hmm.
You should have a copy of, and this is a hard copy I'm talking about, a Dead Tree version of the Player's Handbook, DMG, Monstrous Manual, and if you can get it on your computer or in your hot little hands, a decent collection of dungeon magazines.
Oh, absolutely. You won't need much more aside from that.
If you can get the complete run, great, but at least have like about a dozen of them.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
For that 2E era.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are not going to want, if you can't think of something off the top of your head, you're not going to want for ideas and scenarios at the last minute if you have like maybe 12 to 18 of those.
Yep.
And if perusing your used bookstore doesn't get you enough Dungeons and or Dragon magazines to fulfill your needs for this, you can also still track down the Dungeon or the Dragon Magazine CD Collector's Edition, which will get you 1 through 250 in one go.
Yep. Just be prepared to pay a premium price for it, because there are just people on eBay who just have no scruples whatsoever. They want to milk you for as much money as they can get.
Oh, something else you might want to look into is the Core Rules CDs, if you can find them at a decent price.
Yes.
The reason I'm suggesting that is it's not necessary, but if you're starting to think about adding splat books,
it
has all of them.
It has all of them in there. You can look and I'm all for like buying the hard copies, but I'm saying if you want to look and see what they're like, you can always pull that up and what's the Thief's Handbook like? And you can look through it, see if it's for you.
Yep. And
or the Freeze Handbook, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all in rich text format, which will go, which if you have Windows, WordPad will open that up, no problem.
Actually, all those books come in 3 formats with the disc set. You'll get it in HTML, RTF, and PDF.
Yep.
All of the splat books, all of the core books, and if you get or most of the splat books, all the core books, and if you get the Core Rules and the Core Rules Expansion 2.0, you get everything to include Player's Option.
Yep.
And DM's Option.
So you want to look for if you're going to do it, you want to look for the Core Rules and the Core Rules Expansion. You install one, then you install the other one on top of it.
Yep. Yeah, you got to get the expansion. That's what actually makes that supplement sing. And and I will say that's worth whatever you pay for it. If you pay $100 for it, it's still worth it, because going, because you're, at least this way, you're not spending like $200, $250, $300 in rule books and splat books.
You find them on eBay, Amazon, those places. Okay, guys, we've done enough of that. We're going to get the kickback. Good. Okay, fine. So
we should get a click-through for Amazon, though.
Yes, we should.
Mm-hmm. Make a little money off this puppy.
Why not? What the hell?
Exactly.
That was Harmbringer?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Harmbringer. That was a really good question. That was a really good email. We got another one?
Yeah, let's see. We have Okay, this one's going to be interesting because I had to look this one up. But, okay, this is from DM Jeremy. Okay.
Hi, Jeremy.
Okay, he says, in my last campaign, one of my players found a spell that I thought I would mention here because it was one that I had never really given a second look to. She is the type of player that likes to find unusual and outside-the-box spells, especially ones with vague wording so she can attempt to do more with it than what is written. I typically allow such loopholes in descriptions to work once and then make a ruling how to handle it in the future if I feel it was too broken or just overpowered for the spell, which is the right way to do it. Make a ruling, make an on-the-spot ruling, then go back, do a little research, and then make a final decision on it. That's
for
perfect.
The most part. If you run into that odd spell where you just know from the get it's going to be nerfed or a problem, don't hesitate to say no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, but for the most part, that's the way you should do it.
Okay. To continue, he says, the other thing I do is that while I do allow players to pick spell lists from the Wizard and Priest spell compendiums, I don't let them use the indexes in the book to pick from all the spells, which is exactly what you should do. I have my own indexes wherein I have removed some that are either silly, campaign-specific, or just downright too overpowered.
There's no such thing as a silly spell.
Anyway, the spell that she found and brought to my attention was on my allowed list because, like most players and DMs alike, I doubt I've ever read it fully, as the name of the spell is pretty descriptive. The spell is Ease Labor, which is hilarious to me after I looked it up. I don't have my book in front of me at the moment, but I believe it's a third level spell of Sphere of Healing, which it is. He was right. The spell does exactly what it sounds like. Basically what it is, it's a spell that priests of a certain fertility goddess. First of all, it's a specific spell for that faith and nowhere else.
Ah, that labor.
Yeah,
okay.
that labor. Yes, the birth labor, yes. But this is where it gets tricky because the spell's reversible. Yeah, this is just crazy. I'm going to read from the actual spell description.
Do they have one in there do they have one Ease Conception?
No.
That would help.
No, actually,
anyway, don't help me.
Actually, no, I take that back. Yeah, they do. I just don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it reduces the chance of conception, yes.
No, I just thought it'd make the labor easier. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, the reverse spell inflict labor afflicts a creature with all the pains of labor. For the reverse form, the spellcaster need not maintain contact with the target creature beyond the initial touch, which requires a successful attack roll. Males get no saving throw, which is what I think the player was trying to do. Females get a saving throw to avoid the effects. Let's see. First phase, you feel violently nauseous and cannot cast spells or communicate or attack. You can only defend yourself or move at half your normal move. Second phase, you're fatigued and cannot perform any action requiring significant amounts of energy, re fighting. And then the third phase, you start suffering increasing amounts of pain. For each round that it lasts, you not only do you take temporary hit point damage, but you also lose strength temporarily. First round, it's 1 point of damage and loss of strength. Second round's 2 points. Third round is 4, on and on and on and on. When the strength or hit points drop to 0, creature falls unconscious for the spell's duration. And, of course, you're almost completely disabled at that point. That's the spell. And, yeah, that's the reverse of the spell.
It's sympathy pains.
Yeah.
For a male, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, first question is the character in question a member of the fertility faith to which this spell is a lone and only membership perk?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no, then
no
throw the hammer on him.
Yep. So, yeah, just, the big hammer that says no.
Nimgid.
Yep, Nimgid, exactly. He says, vague spells I can deal with by making my own rulings, but the only reason this spell didn't completely break games because I ruled you had to physically touch the target for it to work, which is the actual description of the spell. And the player that had the spell is not a big fan of putting herself in harm's way during fights. Oh, she's one of those. Even with that, there were 2 major boss fights that were completely disarmed with this spell. Now, I managed to tweak things to keep it interesting at the time without negating her use of the spell, but in the hands of a more power gaming-minded player, I could see the spell being a major liability to a DM. My solution has been to essentially just remove the spell from my allowed spell index for the books. Yeah, that's what I would have done.
That's way too. I mean, I'm not going to say it's way too specific, but it's way too confined to a certain sect of.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's one.
And if she's out there adventuring as part of that sect, great, wonderful, fine. And if she's successfully using it in combat, getting in for that touch spell, great. Occasionally there are things you don't want to touch, and occasionally, even though it says that males do not get a saving throw, there are other things that could come into effect, such as anti-magic shell, such as magic resistance. The list goes on and on and on. There are reasons, there are ways to make that not so effective an attack as one might think.
Yeah.
And unless the party is willing, a touch attack, don't they have to make a roll to hit?
Yeah, but with touch attacks, basically it's just your arm. It's just an AC of 10 minus your dex.
And
well, I know, but
yeah,
you could fumble though.
Yeah, you could
accidentally touch yourself. No.
This is going
into break the song.
Yeah.
God. Oh, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
I was thinking I rolled a 1. You accidentally touch your horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now your horse is
bucks you off. And,
Yeah, and if there's one of your companions around, there's a chance you might have touched one of your adventuring buddies. Now he's on the ground, simulating the pains of birth and puking his guts out and writhing in pain and all this kind of stuff and screaming at her, "You did this to me! You did this to me!" Sorry.
This is a priest spell, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so there's no chance you could make spectral hand and shoot it through. Anyway.
Unless you are a multi-class cleric mage, priestess of Mystra and this fertility goddess or something, doing a weird. See, this is the power gamer speaking.
Yes.
Going with, or better yet, a multi-class power gamer, cleric, priest, fighter, archer kit, spell archer, using the touch attacks through your arrows.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Which is done. It's been done.
Yes,
this would be a great thing to do it with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, touch attacks with arrows. That's what spell archers do.
Yeah, I love the spell archer kit. Yeah, it's an elf kit.
Where is that? It's an elf kit?
It's complete. Book? Yeah, Elf's Handbook, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I mean...
So
elves need all the fertility goddess help they can get, like dwarves.
Yeah, exactly. Both elves and dwarves, exactly. Yeah, why do you think they came up with fertility goddesses for both races in the demi-human deities? Because their birth rate is so terrible, but I digress. My apologies.
So the question is, should he allow it?
Well, I think he took it away after that. After having 2 BBEGs basically nerfed because of this spell.
It was awful funny to watch, though.
I'll bet it was.
Yeah.
I'll bet it was.
The players are sitting around, hey, pass the popcorn. This is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is...
You pull the mask off and go, Einhorn is a man! Or the other way in this case.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not letting males have a saving throw, that's what makes this spell overpowered, in my opinion. Because the majority of enemies you go up against, and I'm not being sexist, but the majority of enemies you go up in D&D are male. Yeah, unless you're down the Underdark dealing with drow, yeah. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, that's the only way I'd modify the spell.
Or just make your BBEG into big bad evil girl.
Mm-hmm. Or better yet, no gender at all.
Did he have more to his email?
No, that was it.
Okay, that was who?
DM Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate it. And I think we have one more, don't we?
Whoops. Man, I just, by accident, killed the email screen. Give me a moment to pull it back up. Yeah, we do have one. I'm surprised Brady hasn't
I did.
written us.
I'm vamping. Anyway,
I know.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. You want to know what? Okay, we have a twofer from DM Kojo because he wrote something else to us.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, him again.
What does Kojo have to say?
Okay, he said, "Hi guys, I wanted to chime in."
Hi again.
Yeah, hi again. I wanted to chime in regarding the spell point system you reviewed in Splatbook 31. I don't currently use the spell point system as I'm just getting back into playing and most of my players are inexperienced gamers or 3.5 players, and I don't want to make things too confusing. That's a good idea. However, I can foresee using the spell point system once my players are a bit more experienced. I would use the fixed magic rules, however, because it gives the wizard a bit more flexibility and memorizations at various spell levels without overly imbalancing the game. I never understood why a wizard had to take so many spells of every level. Because they can. That's why. If you have a mage with an 18 intelligence, they can have any spell they want.
That's right.
But I digress. I also like awarding bonus spells for high intelligence. If I was using the spell point system, I would use this as it is in the book. However, I would still want to use this option if I am not using spell points. In case I have a table, which he actually went down and did, which is similar to how priests get their bonus spells. Let's see. Yeah, then he sent us the table. So,
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into it, but there it is.
Thanks, Kojo.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it from you?
That's all our emails.
Okay, well, you guys know what to do if you want your email heard out here, thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that is our emails, so that means we're going to get into the meat of the program, like this wasn't.
Brains.
Yeah. You're very, very astute.
Yes.
Option package.
My personality undergoes a startling change.
You know, you should meet me because I'm a great guy.
I like big fat men like you. When they fall, they make more noise. And sometimes they never get up.
Option package.
Option package. Okay, the big one. The complete Psionics handbook.
Yes.
Psionics making a triumphant return to 2E.
Yep. This book was written
by Steve Winter.
Yes.
Of all people.
Yes. which is kind of interesting in its own right.
Remind me not to play in any of his games at the con. Okay.
Well, doesn't he do Gamma World?
He does Metamorphosis
Alpha. Okay.
In fact, I just found out that he's offering the original Metamorphosis Alpha on Lulu.
Really?
As a print on demand, yes.
Ooh, that's going to be a little expensive though, since he's going to Lulu.
Maybe not. He's doing it as a special in conjunction with the North Texas RPG Con.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep.
Yeah. So you guys, folks, check out NTRPG. I think it's ntrpg.com.
Mm-hmm.
North Texas RPG. Google it, and I think they'll give you more information on what he's doing with that. Anyway.
Okay. Complete Psionics Handbook. This is stock number 2117. Designed by Steve Winter with monster updates by Blake Mobley, and black and white illustrations by the laudable Terry Dykstra.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. This was put out in 1991, and it deals with psionics as a whole. They completely changed the system, overhauled it from first edition, which I have to say it needed an overhaul.
Well, you know what?
But yes.
I was amused by the foreword, where they said that psionics were left out of second edition AD&D, but now they were bringing them back by popular demand.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what that's a code for? We didn't want to deal with it, but people want it, so here it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Like bringing back the assassin and the half-orc. Same thing.
I just honestly think they never should have taken some of the things that they took out of second edition. That's like one of my few complaints about it. It took them several years to address all of these things, and throughout all of that time, all the people that went from first edition to second were clamoring for these things. They're like, why didn't they do the assassin? Why'd they take the monk out? And they tried to justify it, but it wouldn't have been so hard to put the monk class back in. Not at all. But I digress. Getting back to psionics, this is one of the things that they took out. And when they brought it back in 91, they completely overhauled and revamped the system.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In many good and functional and easy to understand ways, which was entirely the opposite of what your first edition Dungeon Master's Guide gave you in the past.
Yeah, it was really, really confusing.
One of the things that they changed is they made a psionicist an actual class, not a kit, a class.
There are kits for the class, but yes, a full-blown class. But this isn't the first psionicist class. There was one in Dragon Magazine, I want to say back in like 84, 85 maybe, somewhere in there.
That's non-canon, so.
Well, if it made it in Dragon Magazine, I don't know about that, since it was a TSR product, but we can argue about that for all.
I know, but I always think of things in Dragon Magazine as non-canon, in other words, optional.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so, optional. Well, okay. Yeah. I get where you're coming from.
Like every splat book, it's optional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
so don't use a splat book. All right, next thing.
Mm-hmm. But the psionicist class is just it was just first thing they did in this book is that they answered the one question: are psionics magical? Now, even back when I was running first edition, I never thought they were. But it's one of these things where it's very easily explained. Mages tap into extraplanar power to do what they want to do by casting their spells. Priests appeal to their deity, their faith-based deity, to acquire the power to do what they want to do. And psionicists get everything from the power of their mind. Oh God, what is his name? Who's the one? Who's the guy who bent spoons with his mind back in the day?
Harvey Spoonbender?
No.
Uri Geller.
Uri Geller, thank you. Uri Geller could be if you wanted to classify it as a psionicist.
I thought it was Neo. Whoa.
There is no spoon. Yeah, this is true. But anyway, the psionicist class itself is, to me, they got this class right in the fact that it's only based off of the character's inner power. Their prime requisites their requirements are a high con, a high wisdom, and needed is a high intelligence.
Oh, and they had to be some flavor of chaotic alignment.
No, they didn't. The chaotics weren't allowed. The logic being, go ahead.
No. You're probably right. Probably lawful.
Yeah, lawful or neutral. There could not be a chaotic element to their alignment.
Oh, I'm thinking of like some Ranger kits. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. They basically said that that's the only restriction. It can't be chaotic. Discipline is the foundation of all psionic power. A character whose creed is chaos cannot achieve the level of self-control that psionicists require, which I'm okay with it. That's not a major problem. There's
ways around that, wild talent, etc., and others stuff.
Yeah.
So you can still have it in your campaign if you want it and find a way to make it still work, even if you have to adjust what they put in as the guidelines. But still, they do a very good job of building it as a class. They build the powers as proficiencies. They give you a list of a variety of things that you can do. They break it down like schools or domains for the priests or the mages, so you still get the same concepts that people are already familiar with, that if you can run a mage, if you can run a cleric, you can run a psionicist.
Yes.
The only thing they add is the points.
Mm-hmm.
And they refine the points as, here's your stock pool of points, work with it.
Yep.
And there's ways to stretch your point pool get more, use it less, etc., and so forth.
Yeah, taking certain proficiencies to increase the method by which you regain your psionic points.
I find it ironic that psionists have psionic points.
Yes.
Yet in the wizard realm, there's a lot of controversy over whether or not you should use spell points.
That's because
psionics. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's because because the spells that mages get for the most part, I'd say it's probably like a 37, 33, and whatever else is left split that the majority of their spells are destructive in nature. And with spell points, at least the way I've seen some systems do it, is that you could have a mage be a walking fireball platform, as I've said before, which to me is like that hands too much power over to a player, who can basically just sweep the battlefield by casting a fireball spell every round until their enemy drops.
I hope you're not just talking to me about this. You're talking about to Mr. Fireball Platform himself.
I know.
That's what I have wands for. I don't need to have that many memorized. I have wands for that.
Yep.
And I dual wield them.
Oh, God.
And then Corey follows up with his wand of chromatic orbs.
Yes, exactly. God, if we ever have a show with those two together, we'll just have to sit back and mute our mics, Glenn, because they'll just go back and forth about stuff.
And they do bridge the gap on this enough to make it so that it is not so crippling. I mean, the whole concept, the mentality behind, pardon the pun, a psionicist, is that their powers are at their mental beck and call.
Yep.
Okay, as long as they have the energy to sustain it, they can do whatever it is their purview to do at the moment they do it. They go beyond what the first edition had, where one psionicist round is actually 10 rounds. 10 psionicist rounds equal one normal mundane round. That was bad.
Yeah.
Idea. So they got it back to the phase of, you're a psionicist, you're a regular person, you two can fight, and it's not going to be any different than if I did it with a mage or did it with a cleric.
Yep, exactly.
So there'd be a psionics phase of the...
No, not necessary. Not necessary. It can be, at least to me, this can be seamlessly blended in with what everybody else is doing. Let's say you're up against a bunch of fighters and there's one guy in the back who's a psionicist, and your party psionicist is say, I'll take that guy, you guys handle these guys. And all you see while you're fighting is the two of them staring at each other. That's all you see. But the whole thing is that it can be mixed into the combat round so that it's not like, let's say, to go off on a small tangent, like the game Shadowrun, where everybody's blowing things up, everybody's blowing things up with their guns, and, there's a lot of chaotic combat going around. Then you have the decker who has to go into the computer to do stuff, and the rest of the players are sitting around with their thumbs up their backsides.
Yeah,
and also it's also not just two guys staring at each other, because they made it a skill-based power system. It's a proficiency check that goes along with your combat roll.
Yep.
If you're rolling to attack with your spell, you're rolling to attack with your spell, whether you're using it as a proficiency to attack or whether you're using it as an actual combat. I'm going to throw that camel at somebody, or I'm going to body weaponry myself and go all T-1000 and start sprouting longswords from my fingers. Well, hey, that's pretty easy to handle. You're in initiative, fight, go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Glenn.
No, I didn't. I'm listening to you guys.
Okay. Well, the thing is that the hard thing is, it's not so much hard, but it requires a little more thought and a little more housekeeping, let's say. Or record keeping's a better word. Because you have to keep track of your points, you have to keep track of how much the powers you're using cost in points, and subtract that from your point total, and keep track of it that way.
And the other bad, tricky thing about this version of Psionis versus versions that come out in later editions or in other game systems is the extra tap that goes into if you're actually going to be affecting a person's mind directly, or directly, where you have to establish the rules for establishing contact first.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I'm going to throw a mind whammy at you, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right.
No, they wanted you to make it so that psionicist or not, you still had to establish the link before you could effectively do anything to that person psionically, directly to that person. Meaning it was much more effective as a psionicist if you were someone who affected the environment rather than affected people.
Mm-hmm.
If you could affect yourself, you sprout blades, you turn into ice, you become immune to acid, whatever it is you're going to do, you do it to yourself and then you do it to you use that to do things to other people. Mm-hmm. Or you affect the environment around them. You throw boulders, you rip up the ground, you cause things to get gated in, whatever. That's fine. You dominate someone else and you have them go fight. That's starting to get into the ground where now if I want to start using attack and defense modes or other powers on a person directly to seize control of them or something like that, well, that's going to throw a couple extra rounds of combat in as you try to wrest that control first.
That's correct. And that was the whole thing that they introduced, because if you had a certain level of psionic power in first edition, you didn't have to do anything else. You could just use psionics on everybody, and more often than not, it would work toward, the way you would want it to. And, that was a problem. The problem, my issue is that it went too far the other way. That in order to use your powers on a being, a non-psionic being, you had to establish these things called tangents to try to open their mind. You had to establish 3 tangents in order to do it.
You had to establish contact.
Yeah,
to establish contact, you can either successfully establish contact, boom, which is usually only done with someone who's willing, or use multiple forms to try to get contact and force your way in, and they called those tangents, and if you could accumulate 3 of them, you've established a contact.
Right. So that was the whole thing, and that's what kept psionics from ruling the battlefield. And if I'm not mistaken,
it's kind of like laying a casting time on psionicists.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except the casting time turned into multiple rounds. Even though they have things in there where it's like they call it the 1-2 punch, where each one of your attacks is actually 2 attacks, so you can get 2 attempts to get your contacts in there. So it would be like one round I would try to establish contact, I'd get my 2 attacks in, get 2 tangents going. Next round I'd get another tangent in, that's my 3 tangents, it's a contact, I can actually make an attack now.
Yeah.
If you're still standing.
That's what made it difficult. But this book, and the good thing is that yes, the powers themselves became basically like proficiency checks, and there were 3 events that would take 2 events. I'm sorry, 2 events that could take place when you're attempting to use your power. Let's make it 3. The one you roll against your check and you make the check and your power works. Okay, resolve it. The second one was if you rolled your power score exactly, you would get you or your allies would get a nice benefit in addition to having the power work. Then the last one was rolling a natural 20, which would be I won't say epic fail, but it was a pretty bad fail. It would screw the psionics.
My brain hurts!
Oh, migraine! Yeah. I'm starting to see pictures out of the movie Scanners. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, and that was the whole thing. There was risk involved. It wasn't automatic, and there was a really good chance you could really bork yourself or your companions.
See, and that makes psionics a bit more dangerous than magic.
Yep.
Because it's all internal.
Yep.
I mean, you could blow the magic spell and boom yourself and give you like 2nd-degree burns and all this other stuff. But the psionicist has a chance to fry their brain.
Well, it all depended on the power involved. Right. Like with the one that comes off the top of my head the most is there's this power called Combat Mind, and basically it was just getting your mind into a certain mindset, and you would get combat bonuses because of it. and if you rolled rolled your power score, you would affect not only yourself, but also, your companions. They would get a bonus from it. But
and again, just to be clear, and they mention it right here on page 28, the power score and the natural 20 roll, those are both clearly identified as options.
Yeah, it's optional.
They're not automatic just in the system. You just either, I tried to do it and I failed, or I tried to do it and I did it, or you also include this to essentially give your psionicist a fumble chance and a crit chance, which is what everybody always begs for mages as well anyway.
Which is ridiculous to me. Like blowing people up isn't enough. Now all of a sudden you got to blow them up further.
I want to blow them up more, yes.
And more and more and more.
And you add.
So aside from the psionic system, what else does this book have? That's good. Got some kids in there, I know that.
Actually,
powers, and it has monsters.
Yes.
Detailed monsters on how to use them as psionic monsters.
Yep. Like the cerebral parasites, like the intellect devourer, which was a 1E monster staple once you got high enough in level to where you could take it. They have complete rewrites like the brain mole, which is, just the name of that makes me shiver.
Duragar, Mind Flayer.
Yep, Mind Flayer, which we'll be talking about later on in this very show. Yes.
And Harass. These creatures are totally immune to all psionics.
And Mr. Ooey Gooey Worm, who blows into your ear and goes through the other side.
Yes.
Sorry, it's Ricardo.
Yes.
Kirk.
Yeah, exactly.
Outer Planar. Betuzu, Tannery.
Yep.
Angels, devils, and demons for the not PC crowd.
Yeah. For the angry crowd.
Yes.
They also have a list of spells that either affect or do not affect psionics, or vice versa, should I say. Some magical items, they even tell you how to create vessels, which you can imbue with your psionic power and have a little store of psionic strength points if you need them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
scrolls and magic items for psionicists.
Exactly. It not only completes the class, but it also gives you really good advice on how to run a psionicist to where, you're not tearing your hair out, because the psionicist wants to do all these kind of things, all these radical things. I've run a psionicist in a game I DM'd. The player, he was actually pretty decent at it. He didn't try to take the game over. It did require me to kind of, come up with, different ways to kind of, figure out what, not only what he's trying to do, but also how to utilize it to best effect. It worked out pretty well. I remember he tried to basically use his psionics on the Grand Duke of Carameco's.
Wow.
Yeah, that ended up with them being banished from the duchy because of it. I mean, but then again, he's like a 3rd level psionicist, and the Duke's like a 15th level fighter. Yeah, that was going to work. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
I did.
Well, anyway, the book is psionics. If you want to add psionics to your game, this is the book to get.
Yes.
For now.
Or we can move on to Rule 0, and we can come up with another way.
Actually, we can move on to It's in the Book.
Oh, my fault.
You ever go to school, stupid?
Yeah, and I come out the same way.
Is that your idea of an idea?
It's in the book. It's in the book. Psionics in the Skills and Powers supplement. Okay, remember that thing we told you about last segment? We're going to change it around now, okay? The Psionics Handbook, as we said, came out when?
1996, I think. Hold on. I'm getting right there. Give me one second. 1995. Nope, 1995. Oh, the Psionics Handbook. I'm sorry, 1991, yes.
1991, and Skills and Powers came out in 95. So 4 years later, they switched some stuff around, right?
Oh, yeah.
You'll find it on page 142, by the way.
Mm-hmm. To give it a little bit of history, when the Dark Sun setting came out, of course, that world was heavily influenced, shall we say, or by psionics. Psionicists were a lot more prevalent in Dark Sun. Almost every person walking on the face of Athos had a wild talent at the very least. And they changed the system around. The only problem with it was that there were some issues with the system, the way they did it. So they went back to it. They adopted it for the Black Books, the Skills and Powers book, and they quote unquote fixed it. I know there's some errata.
Fixed is a relative term.
Yeah, well, there's
adjusted.
Yeah, they adjusted it, and apparently there's some errata concerning the psionics in the Skills and Powers handbook.
That you could download somewhere or what?
Yeah. Well, I know our good friend here, Full On, has it, but you could find it on the old Wizards of the Coast website. I don't know if they still have that up there anymore.
Now, is this one of those errata things where it's like, oh, that's interesting, or is it one of those errata things we're going, oh, now that makes sense?
Yeah, that's more the latter.
Okay.
There were some things that were...
So you do need it.
Well, yeah, you do. Yeah, if you're going to run it under the system, you do need it.
Okay, and Full On, we're happy to meet you guys in an alley and hand it off to you.
Or the internet equivalent thereof.
You'll be in the long black coat and looking around. Yeah, you're equivalent there. We ought to put it up on OSR Gaming. We really do.
Yes, we should.
If we have it. You have it, right, Full On?
I can dig up and find it. I've got it on a drive somewhere. I've got all the errata somewhere.
Probably PDF it and send it out in the wild or something. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between here and there, between Psionics Handbook and this one?
Okay. As we said with the Complete Psionicist Handbook, they took the psionic abilities and powers and made them more like proficiencies, which the system, it worked for the purpose which it was intended. But with skills and powers, they decided to make it almost a mirror of actual physical combat. Instead of power checks, now you had what's called THACOs, which is mental THACOs, which was the mental armor class of the being you're trying to affect with your psionics.
And some people see this as another nail in the THACO coffin.
Maybe. I mean, I understand what they were trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
I think if I devoted myself fully to it, it would probably work pretty well. But but yeah, I mean, I think it's just so that it made things more familiar to the players. I think that's why they changed it to begin with. And it's almost exactly like combat, where every being has what's called a mental armor class, and if you're trying to affect it with your psionics, you had to roll that mental armor class number or lower, just like in combat.
So basically, THACO works exactly the same.
Yes, it's THACO of the mind, if you will.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. What else did they change about it?
The powers themselves, like I said, powers, everything is now a mental, an THACO roll. Looking at the psionic attacks, like the psionic blast, the psychic crush, that kind of stuff. That's a little bit different as well, which we will get into in the next segment because, because that's we're going to talk about using psionics against non-psionic creatures.
Okay, this makes it even more...
How to have a powerful influence on the weak mind.
This makes it even more... what am I trying to say? Makes it even more... I just can't get it out. I'm sorry. I don't know what the word is.
Complex, streamlined?
More
efficient.
They have to have a psionicist class now.
Well,
because of the changes I mean, that makes it even more essential. There we go. That there is a psionicist class as opposed to like a kit.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the Complete Psionics book, they made a class. They made a class for psionicist in 1E way back in the day. Excuse me. Yes, they did.
Oh man, I have to go back and read my 1E. I missed it. I knew they had psionics in there, but I missed the part of it. Nobody gave me the memo about the class.
Well, as we speak, I'm going to look up the wonderful little website called the Dragon Dex, and I can find out exactly what issue that's in. But as I'm doing that, we can discuss.
Wait.
A Dragon Magazine class, yes, not a core book.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I thought I was going to go look at the old 1E DMG.
No.
Okay, I believe you then. Okay, I know.
Okay.
They got spotted hippos as a class in Dragon, so I somewhere, I guess. I don't know.
You're funny. But yeah, I'm sorry. I should have made that more clear. I'm coming down with a cold, so my brain is not at its full operating capacity.
Okay. And it looks like, aside from that, have you guys ever used this one from the Skills and Powers?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead, Valon. You do.
Oh, I was just saying, oh, yes, indeed. I've had to DM multiple people utilizing this, not the least of which my wife, as a gamer, has a thing for psionicist. she's either on her way to the necromancer path or the psionicist path, or if she can, she'll try to mix the two of them.
Wow. Yeah, you kind of hit the jackpot when you married her full on. Wow. just from a gamer standpoint, I mean.
No, this is like blessed. It may be either cursed with awesome or blessed with suck, depending on how he has to deal with it.
No, blessed with cursed with awesome. That was Julie. Remember?
She generally only gets angry with me as a gamer when we are playing together. Not so much when I am a DM and do something that she dies from. If I'm a player and I do something that she dies from, well, then she gets upset.
You're that guy?
I have no shame and will kill anyone if the circumstances warrant.
And the alignments warrant, I'm sure.
And the alignments warrant, yes.
Let me ask, is this a separate combat thing, or does this work well with combat as it regular combat as it stands? We have to stop the game for them to have a battle?
It sticks with the concept that instead of having a completely separate thing of mental combat, it just falls in with regular combat just like spells do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
spells, melee, ranged, initiative order, boom, go.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that might be the driving reason why they changed it. I think that might be. I mean, aside from the fact that it's a little, the one in the Complete Psionicist Handbook is a little more complicated, and this is a little more simple. I think that's the other reason why they did it. Excuse me.
Okay. Well, that's in the Skills and Powers book, page 142.
Mm-hmm.
Find it, try it out, see if you like it.
Yes, please.
Go either or.
Mm-hmm.
Let's head into Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. Psionics used against non-psionic creatures. Simply, you stare at them, they die.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way it works?
Actually, that is how it works now. There it is. Okay, I found it. Oh, by the way, yeah, the actual class was written in Dragon Magazine 78. Just to finish that little thing. With the Skills and Power set, it's a lot easier to do, even though you still have to open someone's mind. As Morpheus said in The Matrix, free your mind. But
Fog open mind easy. Two-handed sword.
But yeah,
said all I found was a cauliflower.
Right. But yeah, when you're using the psionic attacks against someone with an open mind, you can actually inflict physical damage. I'm looking at the various attacks. They have a different damage set, but you can also scale up the damage. All you have to do is put more psionic strength points into the attack.
I see.
Like with, let's take Id Insinuation just for an example. It says, for every 6 PSPs put into the attack, declared after a successful attack rolls. Well, I'd change that because that's too easy. The attacker rolls 1d8, 1d8 damage per 6 points. So if you put, like, say, 18...
You're mistaking some things.
Am I?
Yes.
Go ahead.
They still go with, essentially, of the 5 psionic attacks, the only one that actually does physical damage to a person, hit point loss. There's Psionic Blast and Psychic Crushed.
Yeah,
They've added Psychic Crush. Id Insinuation has a different effect. If you are successful in levering an Id Insinuation against someone, you make them confused and powerless to act for 1d4 rounds.
Ah, okay. My fault. That's my bad. Like I said, my brain ain't working so good. Like Psionic Blast, if you put, say, 30 PSPs into your attack, you can inflict 3d8 of physical damage. So
you put enough PSPs in there, boom, all of a sudden, boils.
Yeah, the brain just, turns into a gelatinous liquid substance and flows out of their ears.
And then it exploded.
Then you can turn this into a scene from Scanners.
Yeah, pretty much. So what's the downside of, like, attacking a non-psionic? Is there a downside? I mean, do they get any defense? Is there anything the target can do about it?
Well, the only thing is, I think the only real, if it was me, I'd throw a saving throw in there, because it's just a little easy. Once you get somebody's mind open, it's just easy just to inflict something on them, and it's, it seems to me it's automatic, but I'd throw a saving throw in there. But that's just me.
Okay. Well, again, it's something that requires an attack roll.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to lever somebody's head open. Once they're open, then it's going to be the ability to use your psionic powers against someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, the attack and defense modes are really about establishing that contact and making them vulnerable to your other attacks. But again, if you're going against a non-psionic person, generally the more efficient method is to use your psionic disciplines or powers that are going to let you affect yourself, so you have no interest in their saving throw, or you're going to affect the environment and attack them with something else.
Yeah, those psychokinetic stuff. Oh goodness, what's the name of that power?
Telekinesis.
Telekinesis, that's one way. Yes. Control. You must learn control. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know. The Star Wars
references. That's ultra power, dude.
I know. I'm mixing my games here.
Have you known any non-psionic persons who've come down on top in this kind of battle?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a wizard, boot to the head.
Yeah.
Psionicists are squishy.
Yeah, they are. They don't have really good armor, if any at all. Yeah, it's they may have mind powers.
If you can get to them.
Well, yeah. And the other thing that you can do to kind of make things easier on yourself is to get away from the psionicist, meaning move away from him. The further away you are from him, you have they have penalties to their mental attack rolls.
Okay.
So blocking line of sight is generally a efficient way to get out of a psionic combat.
There's another one. Yeah, I think that's one of the major drawbacks to psionic powers, is that you have to be able to have line of sight of your target in order to try to affect them.
That's a good drawback, though.
Oh yeah, just run around the corner.
There you go.
But yeah, yes. I mean, with psionicists, it's just like mages, like Falon said. They have wonderful mental powers that can affect the environment or another being if they're able to do it, but they're not very physically strong.
Well, they can be, but you have a very specific build you're going for. If you're going to be the psycho-metabolist with the body weaponry and stuff like that, you can go all monk fu on someone and be very Dragon Ball if you want.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Pulls out this ancient scanner.
Shoryuken punch!
God!
Haryugen!
Oh my God! His rating is over the top!
Yeah. Yeah, it's over 5,000.
Yes, the limitations are PSPs. They have a point value that they got to spend out of, which is just another version of point values like you would use for clerics and mages, so you have the same limitations you're working with there. And there are costs associated with succeeding and failing.
Yep.
There's the line of sight. There's others that have a power of touch, so they require a physical attack roll and an THACO roll to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's obstructions, whether it's line of sight or things that are going to block your clairsentient and telepathic powers, like lead or iron an inch thick, obsidian 2 inches thick, stone a foot thick, or the anti-magic shell. So same protections that work for magic work for psionics.
Yep, pretty much.
And I find it interesting with the PSPs, you're almost required to have something like spell points, where in the magical realm, depending on the DM, you know what I'm saying? If they use this book, or if they, some people don't like, they like the Vancian magic, but there is no Vancian psionics.
No, there isn't.
No, you have to spend 10 points.
Yes, you do.
Which
until you go to Saga Edition and start using the Force.
Well, different game.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's another good drawback about it. It gives somebody, kind of a leg up on it.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us what you guys do if you've ever had battles like this. Give us a shout out at thacoshammer@gmail.com and give the number again.
405-806-0555.
And OSR Gaming and Dragon's Foot and D20 Radio and Planet AD&D and Purple Worm and I'm just pulling it out of my butt
and Facebook and Twitter and we got a new one this week, nutcanland.com. Hi guys. Anyway, let's go on to our snipe hunt.
If you only had a living brain.
What do you think, escaped gorilla?
Listen, you're making enough noise to wake up the dead.
I don't have to wake him up. He's up.
It's time for a snipe hunt.
Hey, snipe hunt. Guess what we're doing? Yeah, the mind flare. You got it. Elliptid. This week we're doing the Mind Flayer copyright 1999 Wizards of the Coast, and I thought I'd throw in a couple of Beholders copyright 2000 Wizards of the Coast in there too.
Glenn,
what?
You're being sarcastic again.
Well, I find him on page 251 of the Monstrous Manual.
Yes,
and I find it very interesting that, according to this write-up, Illithid psionics is kind of an option more than the norm.
That is correct.
Because their magical powers tend to resemble psionics.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like they have that mind blast that you would swear is psionic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not.
No.
Unless you're dealing with a full-blown psionic. Mind Flayer, copyright 1999, Wizards of the Coast.
That's correct.
But, yeah.
Stop that.
Stop what?
Don't need to do that. Stop that. Okay. But anyway. The Mind Blast is by far their strongest weapon. It's projected in a cone 60 feet long, 5 feet wide at the Mind Flare, 20 feet wide at the opposite end. All within the cone, they has to make a saving throw versus wands or be stunned for 3d4 rounds. Which
this is not a magical spell or power. This is an innate
ability
thing they can do. Ability they can do.
That's correct. And when you're stunned, they basically they'll grab one or two victims and they'll try to get away with them.
And it's lunchtime.
Yes. Then those tentacles start burrowing into your brain and they start eating your brain right out of your skull. I mean, it takes go ahead.
Remember Pirates 3. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. it'll kill the victim in one round. So if they get away with somebody, you better find him PDQ, otherwise you're in some serious trouble.
And because they can get away with a plane shift, that might be a bit of a journey.
Yeah, then there's that.
And if you, they can do that. And if you get past the Mind Blast, there's always the spells they can throw as a 7th level mage.
Yes.
Suggestion, Charm Person, Charm Monster, as ESP, Levitate, Astral Protection, and the above-mentioned Plane Shift.
Yeah.
And guess what? All saving throws are at a -4.
Yep. So you better have a high wisdom in order to, counteract that nasty penalty. Because, having one of these is bad enough because they have a 90% magic resistance. So that means that you basically got to get up in this thing's grill and beat the hell out of it.
That's right.
If you're lucky. But if it's got like some, say, moderately strong thralls to keep the party busy, while it basically just says, okay, you attack them, you keep them busy, I'm going to do this, because...
And habitually those thralls are going to be Drow, Kuatoa, Darrow, adventuring parties.
Yes. Smurf, Devlin.
Smurfs, yes.
Yes. Stop that.
This is where the thief comes in real handy to backstab the son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But on the plus side for wizards, their ichor is the main ingredient for the potion of ESP.
Yeah, which is like, but the one thing,
heads are the primary component in the helm of mind shielding.
That
copyright on Gamer.
That's true. Yeah. And a Lithid's head, and a ranger's life. Yes.
Vicky.
Don't forget about the sacrifice.
You know what would be
You
interesting?
want me to say what kind of spells you can make out of tentacles?
Everard's Black Tentacles comes to mind.
Oh, I was going to go hentai with it, but okay.
Oh, let's not. This is a family show.
You know what would be interesting to do to change it up a little? If you fought an Illithid and you chop the head off, do a Perseus and make the Illithid's head still work.
Well, have it do a mind...
do a Medusa thing where you hold it up to the monster, it does a mind blast.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Go
ahead.
If I ever use these, I think I'm going to do that. You can cut the head off and cover it up. It's like, okay, go!
Yeah.
Of course, depending on the edition of Monster Manual you've got your hands on, or deities and demigods.
Mm-hmm.
Illithid Clerics of Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I got that book, too. Ooh.
That's right up Glenn's alley, too. Well, one thing we're neglecting to mention, which, okay, this is something that I thought was really, really cool about, and I'm going to probably get some nasty emails for this, but when R.A. Salvatore was writing the Drizzt prequels, not the first set of books, the second, when Drizzt is walking around in the Underdark, he basically gets captured by a community of mind flayers, and where he's basically having to serve the Elder Brain, which is this huge brain, and it basically is a pool of fluid that contains the brains of the city's dead mind flayers, a community. And
right.
Oh yeah, and he had to basically serve it. He wrote a very good description of how a community of Illithids works, or at least how they are. Because just thinking about the Elder Brain makes me just like, it just gives me the creeps.
And then they came out with Spelljammer and put him in space.
Yeah. In space. Sorry, I'm referencing an old. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but then again, they put almost everything in space in Spelljammer.
But Illithids worked really well for some reason.
Yes, they did.
They really took to that spelljamming stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but there are various there are variations of the Illithid. There are of course, the psionic Illithids.
Yes.
And they have, they basically have it all
they got a
listed.
Lot of stuff.
Yeah, they do. They have a lot of powers, a lot of devotion sciences.
Their PSPs is D100 times 250.
Plus 250.
Plus 250.
If it was times 250.
Times 250. That's the elder brain. That's the elder brain. I'm sorry.
But I mean, they've got those. They've got the undead Illithids, the Illithiliches.
Calhoun's the Illithilich.
Oh.
They also have Illithid vampires.
Oh, God. Ah! Like all the mental powers weren't enough, now they're undead too. Yeah.
You throw an Illithid. You throw an Illithid Death Knight at us, and I'm going to kill you.
I would never.
Hey, they have warrior specialists,
which is kind of
they
funny.
Very easily have mental.
Oh, you mean that's what?
Anti-paladin Illithids.
Yeah. That 20D fireball didn't take you out here. Mind blast. Boom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
just imagine one of those Illithid warriors with the 6-foot tentacles with the blade tips on his tentacles that are reavers.
Ooh, that's kind of nasty.
Ooh. Yeah.
Then I can get mean.
Then, listen to that. Then he can get mean.
Then
Folks,
we want full on and his fireballs in the party.
Yeah,
and lightning bolts and all that.
Well,
no, 90% magic resistance? Hell no. We can go all kung fu on that ass.
You have to. You absolutely have to.
It's where kung fu fighting.
Ha! Anyway, I mean, one of the other things, of course, with such powerful beings, of course, they're arrogant SOBs. They view every other species as cattle, as things to be fed upon and bred and fed upon again and so forth. For their entertainment, they have, they put their slaves in gladiatorial games and things like that. I was actually thinking of making a character who came from that, who somehow escaped, somehow got out, somehow, some way, and got out.
On occasion, the Illithids lose some of their Underdark wars with their enemies, to include the Drow, the Kuatoa, the Aboleth, the Darrow.
There's a war I would not want to get in between of the Aboleth and the Mind Flayers. No, thank you.
Don't the Illithids have something of a feud with like the Eye Tyrants?
Beholders?
Yes. Copyright 1999. No.
Stop that. You've made your point, Glenn. You can stop doing that now.
No, I'm sorry. It's my Tourette's for this show.
Well, better that than cursing every 5 seconds, but anyway.
That's true. Bob Saget! Sorry.
Oh, my goodness. Did you just go 40-year-old virgin on us?
No. Bob Saget!
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right, but anyway.
Go ahead.
But I could see that. I could see, but then again, the holders wouldn't want to mess with them too much because the majority of their powers wouldn't work.
They're magic-based.
Yeah, they're all magic-based, so they'd have serious problems with Illithids. The Illithids, if they wanted to, that would be an interesting backdrop for like an Underdark campaign.
Well, I could see that battle playing out in one very primary way. Aside from trading back and forth armies of Thralls under the Charm Person power, or Charm Monster, it would be the Illithids with their arcane powers and their Thralls and their psionics versus the Beholders with their legions of undead.
Wow.
Because that is the big primary, if you want to make an Illithid crap its robes thing to throw at them, is any form of undead.
Throw an army of undead at them.
Yep.
I can't mind blast. There's no mind there.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It ain't food, it ain't a thrall, and it's trying to eat me, and I can't see it, I can't mentally detect it, and it doesn't show up on my infravision. Oh, crap!
A lich would make a nice opponent.
Yeah, there would be another one. I've got all these images in my head of one faction's like the Liches with his undead army, the Beholders with their slaves against the Illithids, and then you've got
and you wonder why they haven't busted loose and taken over the surface yet, because this is going on.
True.
And the third faction comes in, the giant pack of wolves and bats with the vampire lord at its head.
There you go. And now you're thinking. Thinking. So yeah, imagine all that going on, and then you drop a party of say 7th to 9th level characters in that.
In the middle of it.
In the middle, exactly. Stop that.
You get out of the way. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just run and hide, and you start talking crap.
You don't stand up fight these guys. You play on their conflicts, and you make the war worse, and then get out of the way.
Yep.
That's
just
right.
Stand back and watch the fireworks. Exactly.
Well, that's the Illithid. Yeah. So I'm sure you guys got tons of Illithid stories. Tell us all about it. THACOshammer@gmail.com and the other places too. Well, we came to another Splat book. Closed.
Mm-hmm.
But
wait, there's more.
That's right. And now here's something you'll really like. Anyway, this is the announcement of who won our DM Tales of Woe contest.
That is correct.
Okay, who wants to do it? You, me, or let's full on. Who's third place? We'll do it this way.
Who is third place?
I've got it.
I've got it too.
In third
I've got
place.
it too.
Okay. In third place is our friend across the pond, DM Brady.
And that was for his wonderful story about the stoned DM and stoned characters.
Yes.
That one made me laugh out loud.
That was rather funny.
Second place goes to our friend Jeremy for his little story about his brother-in-law or something?
His cousin, I think.
His cousin who basically screwed the game 5 ways to Sunday and managed to get himself kicked out of the family at the same time.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, and to me, it's like that story. I read it just got me mad.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get mad, I think it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But our first place winner, who wins the Steve Winter signed DM Guide and Player's Handbook, is
Joshua Merritt, a.k.a. GM Hack.
Yes, for his story about another friend who just screwed up the game, got kicked out of the game, and is still brooding about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not just kicked out of the game. Kicked out of his own house.
Yep. Got ejected from his own home while the game was going on.
That's right. And that's talent, boy. That is talent.
Or a pathology, one of the two.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So Brady, Jeremy, GM Hack, if you could send us maybe a PM on OSR Gaming or an email to THACOshammer@gmail.com, your address and such, we can get out the prizes. Third place will be either a DMG or a Monstrous Manual, second printing. And that's going to be either second or third. I haven't figured out which one. And the first place, of course, is going to be the signed copies of the
DMG and Player's Handbook by Steve Winter, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Signed by Steve Winter.
Yep.
And we will get that going there. As soon as we get some addresses, we can start sending them out.
Yeah. Start the game of musical addresses, yes.
Pretty much. We gotta get these
Excellent.
Excellent. Okay, I come to another one, guys. I guess it's time to go. So we bid the Illithids and the Psionists goodbye for another day, not in my game, but another day in other games, and say goodbye full on.
Smithers, roll the dice and smite him for me.
That'll do. Brian?
Until we meet again, folks, farewell.
Yes, and of course I'm DM Glenn, who got through the Psionic show with flying colors, saying we'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.